protesters were out in full force, letting their voices be heard just outside the gates of the White House. The biggest difference in the two executive orders, Iraq has been dropped from the ban. The restrictions affect travelers from 6 Muslim-majority countries, now not the original 7. And here are some other changes. The new order goes into effect March 16th, not immediately like the original, and expires after 90 days. It includes specific different language stating the ban does not apply to green card and valid visa holders. Unlike the original, it does not prioritize religious minorities in refugee admission cases. It no longer singles out refugees from Syria to be indefinitely banned. Admissions for Syrians will, like all other refugees, be suspended for the next 120 days. Still, the revision is getting some mixed reviews.
We need to give people opportunities, but we do need to be cautious.
I'll be on 4 airplanes before the week is over, and I don't feel unsafe. I think he's being rude and crude, and he's not following what our Constitution is built on.
Washington State's Attorney General Bob Ferguson helped take down the initial travel ban, and he says he will review the revised order to determine its impact on the state. He says he could make a decision this week on what legal steps to take moving forward. So Oliver and Layla, this is not a done deal just yet.
All right, thank you, Neha. And let's talk more about this revised travel ban. Joining the conversation right now is immigration attorney Celsa Rodriguez. Thanks for being here. We have to start by asking you this question. You know, you heard some of those changes in the new executive order. Does this help? Does this alleviate some of those concerns you initially had?
Yes, it does alleviate some of my initial concerns. I was more afraid of, having, legal permanent residents and visa holders being denied entry.
So with these latest changes, what does this mean moving forward for your clients?
Well, I think it's still going to create a lot of fear. I'm still going to get a lot of questions like, should I travel? Should I not? Should I cancel my flight? Is this a wise decision? I think the issue that I have with the order right now is that it does allow for adding additional countries, and so I know it's going to be 90 days until they decide if they're going to add any additional countries, but I'm not comfortable telling my clients, yes, you should make that trip, because the problem is, I know that the order says, okay, if you're a visa holder, you can come back, but I can't guarantee that that's going to happen. So it's not a seamless, transition between being abroad and trying to get your visa stamp and trying to come back. Because even if you have an approved, for example, if you have an approved H-1B visa and you have, the approval and you go abroad to get your visa stamp, you still have to go through the consulate or the embassy. And I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So it's the uncertainty, not so much the order itself.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead right now and bring in another voice to this conversation. Audra Taylor, the National Conservative Speaker. You've been here many times. Audra, thanks so much for being here. Your response to the president's new executive order, and do you think this is a successful version of what he tried to implement the first time?
Yeah, I think the second version provides a lot of clarity where there was confusion on the first one. And we see that he did make a change with Iraq, and they stated the reason why they did that is because they had extensive talks with Iraq on their vetting process, and they were able to come to a conclusion. And I think that should be the model for these other 6 countries that are on the list. And Iraq came out and said they were very happy with the talks that had happened and the strong relationship between the United States and Iraq. And I think if we can achieve that with these other 6 countries, that should be the ultimate goal for the administration, and I believe it is.
Well, the 90-day ban on travelers, removing Iraq from that list, was more so, too, to have Iraq helping the efforts to defeat the Islamic State. So there's an interest there with the United States when it comes to Iraq. It's not just, we have a strong vetting process. It's we still need Iraq to help us defeat the Islamic State. So there's more to that.
Yes, except for that Iraq has expressed a willingness to work with the United States, and some of these other countries haven't. And I think it's important to note, we hear over and over again that this is a Muslim ban. These countries, these 7 countries and now 6 countries, make up less than 12% of the Muslim population of the world. So it's not a religious ban. These are the same countries that President Obama had chosen in 2015 to say, hey, these are a risk to the United States of America. And it's important to note that Trump is operating under Title 8 of the United States Code that grants him the ability as president to make these national security decisions for us. And so there might be concern, but at the end of the day, the rule of law still has ultimate authority. So whether there's concern or fear or not, and this won't affect legal residents. This won't affect visa holders, and I think that's an important thing to know.
Well, and that was the important part of this new measure that does sit well with a lot of people, that if you're already here legally, then you're fine in coming back and forth through the country. But you mentioned something a little while ago about this fear, and that's what the director of Amnesty International said. She says this creates a fear, and it does look like it is still overwhelmingly a Muslim ban. Is that your perception of the ban?
Well, what happens is that you're looking also at things that were said during the campaign trail. You're also looking at that it affects predominantly Muslim people. So I think that there will still be a lot of challenge on those grounds. And if a good case is made in court, then that's going to shine.
Any final thoughts?
Well, at the end of the day, this didn't have anything to do with religion. It had to do with the fact that in 2015, these countries were deemed a danger to the United States of America. Today, those threats still remain. And at the end of the day, our president and our representatives take an oath to defend the Constitution and to defend the citizens of the United States of America. That's exactly what they're doing. Let's pray that the rest of the world gets on board with our vetting processes and our security measures.
All right, Celsa Rodriguez, Audrey Taylor, thank you both for being here this morning.